All right. The bridge collapse in Baltimore. What's that going to do to freight? We'll check it out. We'll check out the area. We'll look at a few other things. Stay tuned right after this. Oh, yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's time. There was a time during when I was on Zello that I would sing a good morning song, and some people thought it was funny. Some people thought it was nice. Some people thought I was an idiot. Hey, kind of like life, right? What's up, man? What's up? Good morning. We're going to take a look at some of the news that's going on. Of course, you know, the big news is the the Francis Key Bridge that fell down in Detroit, in Baltimore, Maryland. I don't know why I got Detroit on the mind. And so we're going to take a look at that. We're going to see we're going to take a look at the load boards. There's going to be some dynamics changing. You know, it's what you call a black swan event. I think. I don't know, Pigtail, do I got that right? Because it's kind of an event that no one saw coming, no one prepared for. I'm sure there's some emergency thing that they've put in just in case this goes down, but they probably didn't expect that to happen. So, yeah, talking is hard, Sterling. It is hard. So we're gonna look at the weather too, see where the warnings are at. I think the country's pretty quiet right now. So let's share the screen here. Rock and Van Life, AKA Shadow Wolf. That's your territory. So we'll talk to you for a second. Anyways, there's what Baltimore looks like now, traffic-wise. Of course, this is where the bridge is out, and will be out for the foreseeable future. I think it's going to take them about a year and a half to get that up and running again. And depends on how long the investigation is. Now, of course, all the conspiracy theories are out there. We're not going to get into that. But the reality is that it's a major port in the area, so it's going to affect port shipments, and it's going to affect rail. It's going to affect the dynamics of freight coming in and out of there. Now, those of you know, spot freight coming out of Maryland is usually pretty low paying, especially in van. I don't know what it's like in flatbed or whatever, but yeah, you can definitely see that this is going to be a mess. And of course, it's going to make it harder on this. It's going to put more stress on 95 here And yeah, so just so do your routing, because if you're going through Baltimore or you're going into Baltimore, just give yourself some extra time. And who knows what kind of traffic snarl. It was said that 31,000 vehicles went over that bridge every day. That was according to CBS News, and that's a lot. And the fact that that happened at 1 a.m. was probably a lifesaver, because think about how many vehicles would have been on that thing had it happened, at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that would have been probably it would have been a bigger tragedy. So but that's the big news. If you're a driver that runs the Northeast, this is big news, because that's going to make Baltimore kind of unbearable to get around. And some people are talking like you're looking at sometimes 60 miles out of route just to get to somewhere. So I mean, think about it. If you're trying to get to this area here, or Sparrows Point, or Edgemere, and you're over here, like Glen Burnie, well, you used to be able to just hop across the bridge. Now you got to go all the way around. And so this will add hours and miles to your trip. So definitely a bad situation. So as you can see, traffic is already starting to snarl up. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning there. So, but anyways, just keep that in mind. Weather-wise, we got some warnings out here in the mountains of California. Warnings and advisories. Of course, Colorado's doing its, or Wyoming is doing its own thing. Northern tip of Minnesota and the UP. But then we're under a freeze warning here in Missouri, Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma. And then what's the blue? Frost advisory. So frost warning and frost advisory. And then, of course, the southeast is got some dense fog. And then, of course, some flood watches and all that. But everything else looks fairly quiet. A little bit of wind in Indiana and Illinois. But so not much going on there. So that's good. So, of course, Nevada's doing, what's that color for Nevada here? Is that high wind? Let's click on it, see what that's doing. Winter weather advisory. It's a weather statement, I guess. So they're out of Reno. So just keep that in mind as well. All right. So let's go over some comments, and then you guys can stare at the map for a while. And go over some comments, and we'll get into what's going on in freight with Baltimore. We'll look at Maryland in general. So, all right, Sterling, present. Thank you for your membership. CB, good morning. I heard that you got to meet the infamous STT there at Matt's. Hey, got the notification. TJ, what's up, man? New member. Thank you. I appreciate that. Pigtail, what's up? Good morning. Southbound Pachyderm, what's up? Sterling says, good morning from central, southern, western Oregon, east of the Cascades. You're all over the place. Quick Hit, what's up? Pale Rider, coffee time. Yes, there's going to be an announcement soon on coffee. But that's all I'm going to say about that. I might be working on something. So we'll see what that turns into. There's two things I wanted to have as an endorser, and that's coffee and beard oil. I have not managed the beard oil people yet, but the coffee might be a thing. So, Gary Cook, good morning. Good Wednesday morning, he says. Sterling says, talking is hard. Yes, talking is hard. Listening is even harder. So, Rock Van Life, just checking in. Yep, bridge is in the water. It's hurting traffic here in Baltimore. Yep. That's the obvious, right? People might go, gee, Steve, Thanks, Captain Obvious. But hey, everybody, even some of the gun channels I watch are talking about the bridge. So Flatbed Trucker, good morning. TJ says, Sterling, how's the Falls of Klamath? LOL. My name is Nobody. Good morning. Since promo, I want IFTA refund from these states that let these roads get so terrible. Are you in Michigan or Louisiana? Those are the worst ones in my book. So, Ghost Cat, what's a city get for a bridge collapse by a container ship? Insurance claim. I'm not sold it was an accident. There's a lot of people that are saying that it was not an accident, but I believe it was a ship full of exports. And you could see on the video clearly that the ship lost power and then pretty much, I think, blew its engine because you see a bunch of black smoke come out of the stack. Then the lights came on briefly for a second, and then they went off again, and they dropped anchor, and that was enough for the ship to kind of careen. It wasn't enough, so who knows? And, I mean, we've had major oil disasters with tankers, and, you find out that the captain was drunk or whatever, but who knows? Whether it was purpose or not, that's not what we're going to get into. It's one of those things that this is kind of how my mind works. Whether it was intentional or not doesn't matter at this point. I'm just looking at the effects. Okay, this is what we're dealing with. This is the cards that we've been dealt. How do we deal with that? It's up to other people to find out the origin story. I'm dealing with the here and now, and what do we do about it? So, what can I control, right? Container haulers in the North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia ports just got busier. Yes, that's going to be one of the effects, is that the other ports will become busier. My guess is that Jersey's going to get some of it as well. So, Pale Rider, 70s and rain here in Florida today. Good deal. Mr. Charles, good morning. Old school, new school, getting loaded, headed to Texas. I used to cross the Key Bridge all the time with hazmat loads. That's really going to screw up the west side of the Beltway for sure. Yes, that's the other thing. The tunnels that they have, you can't put the hazmat in there, so it's going to be a mess for a while. So if you're a local driver in Baltimore, or if you're a regional driver that goes through Baltimore all the time because that's where your customers are, your life just got a lot harder. So, but just be grateful that you weren't on the bridge when it happened. David Edwards, good morning. Planning route for travels in Baltimore this morning. Oh, wow. Yeah. Are you doing that? Oh, no, he's going instant. No, I'm not going instant. No instant crystals for me. Yes, Pale Rider TV did a good report on yesterday on the bridge, so go check out Pale Rider's channel. And good morning, y'all, says Dennis. Pale Rider, you got a wrench, unlike me on your channel. Go ahead and put a link up to that video, please. Gen Z Trucking, good morning. Not to mention that is one huge container port for the East Coast. Yes. Yeah, there was an outbound, too. I-65 in Gary. My goodness, you could barely maintain control. It might as well be Michigan right there in Gary. 2 double brokered loads in the same day on Monday. Wow. Yep. That's getting real, too. We'll talk about that a little bit if you want. Sometimes it takes a cargo ship to fix the potholes. Yeah, that's the thing. That ironically, there was some construction crews on the bridge fixing potholes when that happened. So they say the black smoke was the generators kicking on due to the power loss. Report was bad fuel caused engine shutdown. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, the generators, man, they're like, ugh, right? 72-hour rule. It takes that long to get most of the facts about a tragedy. Pretty much, and then we'll never know the true amount of facts, So, but that's true. That's true. That's look, and like I'm gonna change the topic here for a second, but there was a report about how intermittent fasting it causes 91% increase of heart disease. Now, if you're watching Dr. Barry or Dr. Berg or Thomas DeLore, they've talked about this. What it was one comment and one thing done horribly wrong. And it was a correlation, not a causation. It wasn't even a studied report. It was literally like someone said, I think it causes heart disease. Maybe, I don't know. Literally was that. And then the news just ran with it because they have a narrative to sell you more food. So you can't sell 4 meals or 6 meals a day from fast food if you're doing intermittent fasting. Now, come on. So, but it's not just the left news. It was the right news saying the same thing. They all get their news from the same place. So just know that all the conspiracy theories are out. People are wanting clickbait, and it's meant as clickbait, just like the heart disease thing. So look, the CIA has bought Hollywood, and that's a psyop. Okay, so I did that just happen? I don't know, but just know that you can't believe everything you hear, right? TJ says they said it was a Singapore ship supervised by a Danish company headed to India. Global economy. There you go. Gary Cook, that barge must have been moving pretty fast for that bridge to collapse. It was veered off course, but I mean, how else do you stop how many tons is a container ship? So, and now it does look like someone just kicked the Legos. I thought that was pretty interesting. One pillar caused yeah, I mean, who knows, right? Report is loss of 1,500 jobs just for the port area. Wow. Yeah, that's an effect that no one's really talking about. You would think they would have tugs to get those ships out of port and past the bridge to open water. Well, I mean, think about this. The bridge has been there since 1976, and they've never had an issue. And they have safeguards in place so that doesn't happen. Obviously, safeguards failed, and that's what you have to realize, Safeguards always fail. Rock and Van Life, Port of Baltimore is number 9 for freight. That area was really busy. Good thing it was only one other ship that was in port at the time. SOT's not leaving for a while. Beware of agitating propaganda. You know what's interesting about that, Sterling? I'm going to post this on my community page, but there, the other day, I think it was Sunday night, we were just chilling at the house trying to recover from our trip, and the Never-Ending Story, remember that movie from the 80s, came on, and I was watching that. I was like, it's better than whatever other crap was on. And there's a scene where the wolf that was trying to stop the main character from saving the world, Fantasia or whatever, talks about his job is to help the nothing kill hopes and dreams, because those who kill hope and dreams control the power of darkness. Something along those lines. It's a great scene. It makes you go, wow, okay. Somebody was paying attention back in the 80s, right? So, agitating news, that's what it does. You ever wake up and see all the news headlines and think, man, we've got no hope, right? Well, that's intentional, because now you can be controlled out of fear. And, we're getting deep here, I know. But like for example, Sunday morning when I woke up, I checked, of course I checked my phone, make sure I didn't get any calls or whatever, and Instagram pops up. And there was literally cops arresting a dude who had picked up the leg of a person who had been hit by a train and was literally eating it. Now, I put it on Facebook. Who had American cannibalism on their 2024 card? And that was what I started my day with. I'm like, man, that should teach me from opening Instagram first thing in the morning. And what was nice about the weekend was I barely got into any YouTube. I know everybody was doing their live streams that usually run horribly because of the speed there at the truck show. But I was like, it was so nice to be not engrossed in YouTube or the phones for 36 hours. It was pretty cool. But the minute I look, I'm like, oh, here's video footage of a guy eating some dude's leg that the cops are trying to arrest. Awesome. So, I mean, that's the world we live in. And so it's designed to, that's going to take, because hopeless people are easier to control, and that's true. So, welcome back. I just recently found out that my arthritis gets worse when I drink dark liquids, no matter what it is. It makes my joints hurt really bad. You definitely got some inflammation going there. Welcome back. I'm going to guess it's probably all the Doritos and Mountain Dew that you love so much. Old school, new school. Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. Listen to everything and decide for yourself. Yes. Google says the ship was 95,000 tons. That's a lot of weight to stop. Put the brakes on, right? And now, the never-ending story song is stuck in my dumb brain cavity. I didn't sing it, so you can't blame that on me. Wife Lord and Sterling saying hey to each other. Ghost Cat, you have plans for the eclipse. Get your glasses. It's funny you mentioned that. So I have a welding helmet, so I don't need the glasses. I don't need to pay $2 for these paper glasses. And MoDOT has actually put out a thing on Facebook for people to make sure you're not driving with those welding glasses on during the eclipse glasses while driving during the eclipse. And they actually had to put that out there. They have no hope. Speaking of no hope, they have no hope that people have enough common sense to not do that. Like you're on your way to work and you're going to put the glass on. Oh, look at the eclipse. So yeah, that's it's funny. People are intermittent fasting because they can't afford groceries. That could be true. Anybody who craves severed legs has never tried tacos, right? Never Ending Story was in 1984. Yes, it was. Obviously, the creator saw something that was going on way back then that we're now just kind of realizing. So, all right. So, speaking of the bridge, let's get this up here. All right. This is from OOIDA. If your route has been impacted by the Key Bridge collapse, please see the following alternate routes. Harbor crossings alternate routes will be I-95 or I-895 tunnels. Vehicles transporting hazmat, including propane over 10 pounds, are prohibited in tunnels and should use the western section of I-695 around tunnels. Vehicles in excess of 13.6 in height or 96.8 feet in width are prohibited from using the I-895 Baltimore Harbor Tunnel. I-95 Fort McHenry Tunnel is height 14 feet 6, width is 11. I-695 Key Bridge collapse due to ship strike. Avoid I-695 southeast corner. I-695 outer loop closed at Maryland 10, exit 2, and inner loop closed at Maryland 157 Peninsula Expressway, exit 43. Use I-95 or I-895 alternate routes. So there you go. I'm not saying all that again. So if you didn't hear me the first time, then the rewind button is there. So let's take a look at freight coming in and out of Maryland. See what that's doing here. So let's go take a look at van, apply. Here's a hot market map for man. Let's see. Oh, man, you guys have been commenting. Rock and Van Live. Report was ship did drop anchor and attempt to slow or stop prior to hitting bridge. He did, yes. Or they did. Lance Calhoun, somebody had an accident with the welding glasses on. They would be sewing the glasses. The glass manufacturer. Yes. So, yeah, don't drive with welding glasses either. Desert Oak Pam, good morning. A welding helmet and a guitar collection. Could you be any more Missouri? Well, I could. Trucker with T-Bone, good morning. Stephen Chat. Pale Rider says leg meat tacos. New driver looking to drive heavy haul. Ship captain. Bridges may be an issue. Yeah. So, DIY Semi, good morning. Randy says good morning from Memphis, Indiana. And then DIY saying hi to Randy. All right. So, let's take a look at Maryland. Now, Maryland's showing yellow here. So let's take a look at outbound. Let's see how much freight's coming out. So let's sort this by rate. Now, mind you, there really isn't good rates that come out of Maryland anyways, unless you're going to Florida. And oh wow, here, Baltimore to Royal Palm Beach, $214 a mile, $2,200. That's for today. Is today the 27th? Yes, 27th and 28th. Now, that's the other thing that you might want to keep in mind is some of these loads might be canceled because of shipments not coming in. Because a lot of cross-docking has to happen. There's been a few times where I picked up oil out of Chicago, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, why are you taking forever to load? Well, see that truck next to you and that a dock next to you? He's like, yeah, he's unloading your stuff to go in your trailer. And so we're waiting for that product to come from across town. I'm like, oh, I'm at the mercy of Chicago traffic without being in Chicago traffic. So T-Bone says that's one way to get rates increased. Well, yeah, that's the hard way. So 431 mile, Middle River. Let's take a look at this load. Middle River, Maryland to Central Islip, New York. So obviously we're going to New York City from Baltimore. They're $1,000. Picks up today at 8 a.m. So if it's not picked up by now, it's probably running late. How old is this posting? 9 minutes. So they probably need this covered now. If it's straight through delivery, that could be an issue. Oh no, it's 8 a.m. for tomorrow morning. Still $1,000 a day, but you're landing in New York City. So let's take a look. $319 in tolls on that one. So out of that $1,000, so check this out. So let's say you're at 80%. So 1,000, so 800 minus 319. We'll just round it up. $320 for tolls. That's $480. Now, what's the fuel cost on this? Minus another $160. Minus another $160. You're looking at $320 net going from Baltimore to New York City. $320 a day. If you accomplish this, and they're like way above the cargo chief. They're way, their green screen's got it at 1203, but yeah, it's almost a whole, like, cargo chief's got it 822, Raycheck's got it 779, and they're at 1,000. So, but that toll, man, will kill you. Let's see, Baltimore to South Windsor, Connecticut. Let's take a look at that one. Baltimore picks up at 12:30 today, delivers tomorrow at 2 a.m. So you got to time that just right. They're right about where Cargo Chief's got it. So they're paying a little bit more to come out of Baltimore. I've noticed that. But you want to make sure, ask which, you want an address if possible. Now, I know a lot of brokers don't want to give you addresses. Like TQL does the thing where you book the load, they give you a rate con with no addresses. And then once you complete this checklist that the agent's got to go over, then they give you the addresses. What you need to know before booking a load coming out of Baltimore or even into Baltimore is where is it delivering in accordance to where the bridge is out. So the reason being is you might have to add 30 to 50 more miles to the trip. So you want to know the timing. You want to make sure that you're not late for the pickup or delivery. And so the routing has got to be accurate. So that's where Google Maps is going to come in and help you out a little bit. I mean, I know it doesn't do truck routes, but it'll at least give you an idea of how much out of route your routing is going to be depending on where you're going in Baltimore. That's something that you have to consider. So, maybe this load is 306 miles, but depending on where it's picking up in Baltimore, it might add another 60 miles to it. And obviously, it delivering at 2 a.m., there's not a whole lot of time to mess around. So just keep that in mind when you're booking freight in and out of Maryland. How is that going to affect the trip? How many more miles? And then hours. Think about the traffic snarls that's going to happen. 31,000 vehicles a day have been misplaced. And so that is going to that's going to create some effects here. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your trip planning. Russell Freight Services says good morning. Funny how Ida called it a ship strike. What? Did a union take out the bridge? Warehouses at the port area say they're trying to empty out, but it's slow due to traffic and routes. Amazon is hurting. Yes. Yeah, so if your Amazon package is coming out of the Baltimore area, then you're probably waiting for it. Good coffee. So, but so far the rates have come up a little bit coming out of Baltimore. $3.96 to go from Baltimore to New York. Let's take a look at this one. Let's get that one out. Let's do Springfield, Mass. Now, Lauren from 123 Loadboard did email me yesterday and said that the slowness due to the loading time of the load is due to the cargo chief. He asked me if I wanted the cargo chief removed, and I said no. But it's something that they're dealing with on the cargo chief. So, but this is palletized paper. Palletized. That must be a new term. Baltimore, Maryland, Springfield, Massachusetts from Schramm Logistics. They're at 900. Cargo Chief's got it about 11. Green Screen's got it 13 and as low as 11. So they're a little bit low on this. And again, you're looking at $268 in tolls to go up to Massachusetts. And again, you're going to want to know where in Maryland this picks up. I used to pick up from Sherwin-Williams in Baltimore a few times back when I ran the Northeast. So let's take a look at Jessup here. Jessup, Maryland to McPeth. Or Matt. Man, I can't read this morning. Reading and writing is not my strong suits today. Maspeth, New York. Picks up tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Delivers next day at 11:30 a.m. Not a great load as far as time goes, unless you're emptying out at like 5 o'clock tonight in Jessup. 205 miles, 4 hour, about 4 or 5 hour trip. Let's see. 1% below cost per day, so it's not meeting your cost per day. $807 is where they're at. They're doing the odd number thing. Cargo Chief's got it $685, so they're actually paying a little bit better, but check this out though. $308 in tolls. So 807. Let's say one of our contractors wanted to do that load, $807. 807 times 0.8, that's 645 minus 142 for fuel minus 308 in tolls. You're going to net $195 and change on this load. And that rate is kind of high for this area, according to these rate check marks. It is your cost per mile dramatically increases running the Northeast. Now, some of you, we have drivers that live up there; they have no choice. But just know, like, if you're sitting there and you live in, I don't know, Springfield, Massachusetts, and you're like, man, I'm thinking about becoming an owner operator. Keep that in mind, that your cost per mile is going to be significantly higher in both fuel and tolls. I mean, yeah, you can avoid the tolls, but then that costs time. That costs fuel. You have to weigh the options. Does the fuel cost and time out? Is that better choice than just the fuel or the toll cost? Sorry. Again, I'm having speaking issues. Maybe I had a stroke. I don't know. I always wonder about that, especially at my age, whenever I'm kind of slurring my speech and I haven't had a beer. A lot of these are AMX Logistics. You've got, now if you want to get out of Maryland and go west, you got Sparrows Point to Austinburg, Ohio. 98% below cost per day. They're at $500. They're at $1.37 a mile. Cargo Chief's got it at $814. Rate Check's got it at $587. 33,000 pounds. Toll cost $239.55. So let's take a look at that one. Right? Let's say you're a horrible negotiator and can't get them above $500. So 500 times 0.8, that's $400 minus 239 in fuel, in tolls, and then minus where's the fuel? 254 minus $254 in fuel equals a negative $93 that you'll make on this load. You will lose money on this load. So if you're trying to get to Ohio, are you going to go empty, or are you going to take a negative hit? Right? Depends on how your operation is. Depends on that freight that you're getting out of Ohio. So, and this is why $80,000 or 80,000 trucking businesses went under last year, because they can't handle that. And to be frank, not many people can handle a loss like that all the time. So let's say you do this load just to get yourself to Ohio, and then you take a hit out of Ohio as well. You're under your cost for Ohio, and then you do that again and again. Your time is done. And you could send a screenshot to this broker, AMX Logistics, and they're not going to care. All it is frustration for them to try to move this load for this amount. So it's imperative that you learn some negotiating tactics. It's imperative that you learn some sales skills. And it's important that you learn that you need to offer them something that other carriers can't. But somebody somewhere is going to do this for $500. That's what you're up against. Like, here we go. Look at this load going to New Jersey. This isn't until April 4th. 16% below cost per day. $72 in tolls. Now, mileage-wise, this is making you $1.86 a mile. 162 miles at $4.86. Again, Cargo Chief's got it at $6.99. Now, granted, this price was probably set before all this happened because this isn't booking until April 4th. Oh, no, it's 11-minute old posting. So that's something to think about. This AI pricing is going to be jacked up and all over the place when it comes to freight coming in and out of Baltimore. You know, that's the thing. It's going to change the dynamics. It's going to disrupt things just enough to make things interesting. It's not going to be a dire emergency, but it's definitely going to change the dynamics. And that's what you have to. So you have to know your worth, you have to know what you need, and you have to know what you're getting into. It's as simple as that. If you don't know where you're picking up in Baltimore area, and you don't know your toll costs, you know, because a lot of us have the passes now, right? And so you just look at the bill at the end of the day. You know, that's why like Snyder was such an advantage over Landstar, because they paid the tolls in the Northeast. So if I wanted to run this load as a Snyder driver, if it was on the Snyder board, then that was an extra, you know, $200 or $300 in my pocket that I wasn't paying on. And then, of course, they did away with that. Why? Because, you know, God forbid that you actually profit from your trucking job, right? So these $486 loads. Now, if you could do 2 a day, but, you know, again, your cost per mile is going to be considerably more. And it looks like they have 2 a day. It's light, at least. They got a bunch of these. But notice the price change. Okay, check this out. Something to pay attention here. So this is Havre de Grace, right? Is that the name of the town? Am I saying that? Am I butchering that, Shadow Wolf? Probably. Havre de Grace, Maryland, to Wharton, New Jersey. Looks like it's a straight through delivery. Okay, PLS has got it for $486. Venture Connect has got it for $400 and oh wait, no, that's a different load. Who's the other broker that had these? Oh, it's all PLS. Oh, AMX. Yeah, no, it's all PLS. Never mind. I thought Venture Connect had one too. So why is there a price difference? PLS has got these from $469 to $482 to $486. Why is there, CDN, if you're watching, why is there a $5, $10 difference on these? Oh, look, Live Logistics just posted Baltimore, Maryland to Dover, Delaware. Let's take a look at that. $5.36 a mile, man. We got $5 a mile. Let's take a look at the actual. Picks up at 11 o'clock on 11 p.m. Not until next week. Delivering. So you're pretty much on a third shift on this because it delivers 5 a.m. Now it's showing me it's 78% above my cost per day. I put my cost per day at $350 or $320 is what I did. or 350. Yeah. So they're at 450. That's exactly what Cargo Chiefs got it at for 84 miles, $72 in tolls, and $58 in fuel. So not bad. But again, what are you netting from that? Now it says cost per half day, $179. So if you can do 2 of these a day, great. But that's not what's happening here. Unless you got one in the morning. But then how are you going to deliver that 5 a.m. if you're starting in the morning? So the 14-hour clock becomes your enemy. Unless you're doing the split, right? Now, let's see if inbound to Maryland has increased. Let's see. All right, read that. Port Authority says 35,000 average vehicle traffic goes across the bridge daily. Don't know where they get 31,000. Well, either way, 35 or 31, that's a lot of cars misplaced. For sure. Batman, what's up? Sherwin-Williams, Baltimore is in a really good location. Don't forget to carry your GAT. Love that place. It wasn't that bad when I was there. I mean, that was a long time ago. That was about probably 10 years ago. When I was a company driver, I drove for a company for 6 years, and we were in and out of there. And I was in and out of there twice, I believe. Yeah, I won't go down there when the sun goes down. Slacking is over. Back to work on the road again. Good. Good, Raina. Glad you're feeling better. Sterling gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much. I'm looking at the people that got them. That's funny. All right. Mr. Hunky Dory. Thank you, Sterling. CDN Freiburg, good morning, Steve. I am late. Replay view for me. Morning, my fellow Snorelordians. Says Buck Brown. Let's see. Here we go. Salt Lake City to Capitol Heights, Maryland. They're at $1.87 a mile. With 2 extra stops. You're looking at 35 hours on the road there. Cargo Chiefs got it at $41.99. And that's not much higher than what they've got it posted for. So Cargo Chiefs got it at $2 a mile. I would want to break at least $2 a mile to do this with the extra stops. And we got to figure out where the extra stops are. And again, like I said earlier, you got to figure out where you're going into a city of Baltimore and how that's going to be affected by the loss of that bridge. Lacey, Washington to Preston, Maryland, $1.25 a mile. Let's take a look at this one because historically, freight should be paying higher to go to the Northeast. Why? Because you're looking at $471 in tolls. All right. Let's do some math. This toll calculator right here on this 123 low board, 48065, by the way, if you want to check it out for free for 30 days. It's such a great tool because some of you aren't keeping track of your number, so at least you got this raw number here. So let's say that you're a horrible negotiator and you got this load for $3,600, okay? So 3,600 times 0.8 because you don't want your own authority, you want to be signed on with somebody else. That comes out to $2,880. Let's subtract the fuel costs, which is $22.33.99. So we'll just call it $22.34. Equals $646 minus $471 in tolls. So from this big long load that goes from Lacey, Washington to Preston, Maryland, you stand to net. Now, this is just after fuel and percentage and tolls. $175. Now, Cargo Chief's got this at $5,800. Somebody is not paying attention. Either the shipper or the broker or both. So if we do this math with the 5,800, okay, so 5,800 minus 2234. Oh, wait, no, we got to do the percentage. 5,800 times 0.8 equals 4640 minus 2234 in fuel minus 471 in tolls. That comes out to 1935. And you're going to be on this load pretty much the entire week, right? So if we take 2869 divided by 600 miles a day, that comes out to 4.78. So 5 days of running. So 1935 divided by 5 comes out to $387 a day net. But that's before your truck payment. That's before your insurance. That's after fuel, tolls, and your carrier's percentage. So is this load profitable? Well, under $3,600, absolutely not. Now, you could stand to lose a day or two, at $100 a day, but to do that for the whole week and do that consistently, so that means that whatever load that you took out to Washington better have paid good. This is what you're up against. This is the powers that be that you're up against. And so you better know how to negotiate. You better know how to pick the freight. And you're going to learn some hard lessons in doing so if you're new to this. Because a rookie may not recognize that this is not a profitable load. And luckily, these tools on the 123 load board will help you with this. So, now you have this one, North Lake, Texas to Baltimore, Maryland. $1.93 to come out of Texas, so they're paying a little bit better. And again, you're going to want to know the mileage. You're going to want to know the address so you know the actual miles of how to get in there. So you know you won't be late. And also, you won't be like adding 100 miles to your trip unknowingly. 14,000 pounds, palletized TVs. That's a great thing to advertise. So 2650 times 0.8 equals 2120 minus 832 on fuel, 1288, and there's no toll costs. So there you go. So you stand the net 1288 after fuel and carrier's percentage for, was that 3 days? So divide that by 3. Comes out to $429 a day. It's actually not bad coming out of Texas, but you're going into the Northeast. What are you going to get out of Baltimore? And how messed up is that going to be? So these are the things that you have to think about if you go for the posted rate. Now, the posted rate is higher than Cargo Chief, so they've actually put some money on this already. So that's another sign that the Baltimore thing is going to change the dynamics of freight going in and out of there. Here we go. Lacombe, Louisiana, and Monrovia, Maryland. 226 mile, $2,400. Let's take a look at that one. Generally, Louisiana is not a great paying outbound for van. It is for flatbed, but not van. Picks up today. They're at 2,400. Cargo she's got at 22. So yes, they're increasing the money going into Baltimore. So, and then these toll costs might be off depending on what your routing is. So there's no toll costs on this one. You're looking at about $661 in fuel. So you stand the net a little bit better than the last load we just looked at, depending on circumstances. Now let's do the highest rate per mile going into Maryland. This is all van, by the way. A lot of your high paying per mile is going to be stuff coming out of PA or New Jersey. Here, let's take a look at this Best Bay Logistics load. Oh. This one's ugly. All right, so Ronkonkoma, New York. Hauppauge, New York. West Babylon, New York. And Bayshore, New York, going to Northeast Maryland. They're $1,100, $470 a mile. Cargo she's got it 662, but of course multiple stops, so none of this matters down here. 12,000 pounds, dry food. This is a load, deliver by 4 p.m. or deliver between 8 and 4. So they want you to pick all this up and try to deliver it straight through. If not, you got to do it early in the morning. Now, again, we got to figure out where out in Maryland we're at. But you're picking up all throughout New York City there. Let's take a look at the map here. Yeah, so you're not even getting to Baltimore. So that's the good news there. So you're not dealing with Baltimore on that one. You got $176 in tolls. And about $170 in fuel. Now, one of the cool things about this calculator is you can do it says dispatch fee, but let's use this as a as our carrier cut, right? 20%. You're still profiting on this load. Cost per day is $358. That's what I got it set at. $532 is the profit. So you're at 48% above cost per day. But man, that's a lot of work. You better know this area to manage this. That's the thing. You don't want to put your new rookie on that, because there's a lot of problems and a lot of time on this load. That's the thing. This should be an hourly rate, pretty much, I would think. Buck Brown says, by the way, the new Tennessean travel stop is amazing. Good deal. Sterling wants 53 reefer Yakima, Washington, anywhere. Well, let's do that here. So you always ask for that one. You think I would have had a? You think I would have had a search just for you? Anywhere, pick up any date. I will put for the next 3 days. And then we'll change this to reefer. Apply. Thank you for the gifted membership, Sterling. Not a whole lot You got Salah to Brazelton, Georgia. Let's take a look at this one. 8+ hour old posting. Picking up tomorrow. I bet you this load doesn't exist anymore. It might. You never know. 25% above cost per day. 5,300 is posted rate. Cargo sheet's got it at 62, almost $1,000 more. 33,000 on the weight. It's produce, so you're not burning too much reefer fuel. But there is more chances of cargo issues. You're looking at about $2,000 in fuel. And then after the 20%, you're looking at $1,060. So your net from this is 87 cents a mile or $22.34.15. There's no toll cost on this one. And you got 45 loads from Georgia Anywhere, and you got 60 loads from Brazelton, Georgia Anywhere. Now, here's the other thing. So here's the cool part, right? So I can click on this message, and I can ask if this load is still available. I can send a direct message, and then a little note thing will pop up. Now, I've been on the other side of this, so what happens is if they don't see the direct message, they'll get an email. And they can either respond to the email or respond directly to the message, which is pretty cool. And then I can put a note here on the bottom, contacted. Save note. So take this away. Now it's flagged it. I've put a note there. Or maybe I could put, I emailed and no answer. Or I've called and no answer. Or this dude was incredibly rude and would not come up on the rate. I can put anything I want there, and then I can. So if I've called 33 people and I'm sitting there, I'm looking at loads. Have I looked at this? Have I called on this? Which happens a lot. Then I can. Oh, I've made a note to this. What was that note? So it loads. I scroll down, and my note says contacted. See? So that's a great tool. It's a great feature. Now here's White Salmon, Washington, going to Bronx. This is the load for Sterling. He loves the Bronx, I've heard. Back in his reefer days, he was tripping on the Yankee Stadium all the time. All right, so is the Yankee Stadium in the Bronx? Probably not. You got 2 pickups, which is normal for produce. Yep, apples. Which is interesting. Apples are now coming out of Washington, so that's a good thing to know. 7% below cost per day, and they're going off of the rate check there. Now rate check's got it at 54. Cargo sheet's got it at 69. And when you look at the history, it fluctuates quite a bit. So why does it fluctuate? Because, well, it's produce. It's seasonal, right? So Bronx, let's see what the toll costs. $287 in tolls. Gen Z wants Atlanta Dry-Van. Atlanta guy. Switch this to van. Apply. These powers that be kind of seem like they really hate you guys. You know, CDN and I, you know, it's interesting you say that, Mrs. A, because CDN and I were talking about how drivers are the lowest on the totem poles in all the decisions made about freight. And that's just a reality, right? Oh, we got this weight at 0 to 35,000. Let's change that. So that there might have been more choices coming out of there then. Anyways, we got Atlanta. A lot of stuff coming out of Atlanta. Look at all that Atlanta. Atlanta. Wow. Georgia's a good spot right now, to be honest with you. You got more freight coming out of Georgia than you do Ohio and Van. So we did put Van in here, yep. So sort this by highest rate. Your highest paying load is probably going to either Georgia or the West Coast, yep. You're not breaking $2 a mile to go out west. A lot of California because no one wants to go to California anymore. Here's Clinton, South Carolina to Victor, Montana. $1.41 to go into Montana. Here we go. $2.19 a mile to go to Odessa out of Marietta. Oh, it's hazmat. That's the only thing breaking $2 a mile is our hazmat loads. Here we go. England Logistics has got a load going to Connecticut. So, of course, they're going to put some money on this. Why? Because of fuel and tolls. Toll cost is $152, not to mention the Connecticut tax. That's not on here. And your fuel is about $592. And then percentage. So you're looking at profit of 90 cents a mile or $924.21 for 2 days of revenue. But then you're landing in Connecticut, which you don't know what you're going to get out of there. So I would negotiate a little bit more because you're going to take a hit coming out of there. $2.99, almost $3 a mile to go to Riviera Beach. 602 miles for $1,800. Let's take a look at that one. See if that's a multiple stop. And how deep into Florida are we? Yep, 2 extra stops. So these averages go out the window, and they're right at the cargo chief at $1,800. So they're wanting to pay you a single load price for 3 stops. So just kind of keep that in mind. And you're pretty deep in Florida. So just price accordingly. Know your numbers. For the love of God, know your numbers. Worldwide's got Stone Mountain to Miramar, Florida. 264 miles, $1,700 for 643 miles. No extra stops. Picks up at 9 a.m. on Friday and delivers Monday at 6 a.m. All right. So there we go. Welford, South Carolina, 151 mile deadhead to Ardmore, Oklahoma. Less per mile, $1.71, but it's still at that $1,700. Picks up Friday, delivers Monday. Film sheets. Huh. It may not be going to Dollar General there. There's freight that sometimes goes to Goodyear and then also to there's another receiver. Dot Foods is out there. But yeah, Mrs. A's got it right. Steve, it would be interesting while live, email one of the brokers or both with loads to the Northeast that have tolls. Ask why they budgeted for tolls to see if the broker accounted for it. You read the reply. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I can't do the live phone call, but I can do probably that. That might be a members only thing, where a members first thing, where we email brokers in live time and and see what's going on, right? Shannon, good morning. Did you get sick during the show? Because I know a couple of people that have. Snorelord, are you guys thinking of looking at box trucks yet? Like legitimate, like Penske style box trucks? I guess anything's possible. I mean, are you wanting to run one? Are you wanting to get out of retirement? I work for MSC as a billing clerk. This is from Mr. Hunky Dory. I work for MSC as a billing clerk. Our operations, logistics, scheduling managers have been going nuts since yesterday's bridge accident. I know we are moving many loaded shipments to Norfolk. Yes, that was the other. I believe Kenny Long brought that up, that Norfolk would be the new port to go to. So Norfolk and Savannah, says this name that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. Hunts Point Mafia, says Sterling. Yeah. Buck Brown says, like Savannah ain't slammed enough as it is. So, here's what you do. So you go to load availability, right? And you go to van. Let's take a look. Now, of course, it's not going to be an immediate effect, but look for these outbound numbers out of Georgia to be higher. So let me log into DAT real quick. Let's see what they're saying. How many loads are coming out of Georgia, which would affect the ports, right? So Georgia's got 2125 going in and 2169 out. I look for this number to increase. And then Virginia, let's take a look at Virginia. 844 in, 848 out. So I look for this number to increase in the next couple of weeks. So New York and New Jersey already said they have too much to take the extra import and export. So yeah, they're going to head towards Norfolk and then also the Savannah. So good morning, everyone. Says Cheap Freight Hauler. Another day with Waylon. What would be better board to get, 1, 2, 3, or DAT if you had to choose just one? I don't know. That's a difficult decision. DAT is going to have more volume, so it just depends on what your needs are. If I was flatbed, step deck, I actually like the loads off of 1, 2, 3 better than DAT. DAT's got volume, so it just depends on your area, really, and what tools do you need. So, Mrs. A says, howdy to Buck. Like FedEx over the road. Is that what you're wanting to do? Cheap Freight Hauler, ironically, says, say no to cheap freight. Sterling says, I'm for broker translucency. It's all translucent if you think about it. So, but this is your van hot market map. Arizona's been a little bit easier to get out of. Of course, your lowest rate per mile is going to go into California. Now you're still looking at barely breaking $2 a mile to come out, unless you're going like here. We got Litchfield Park going to Draper, Utah for $250 a mile. It doesn't say it's hazmat or anything. That's about right. Cargo Chief's got it at $17.43. I do know that Waylon, that their Cargo Chief tools and the green screens have been a lot more accurate, a lot more real time than the 30-day average on DAT. Now, I know that some people have the DAT has got the 7-day average in the markets, but when it comes to a black swan event like the bridge collapse, or when it comes to the changing of the seasons, like, when produce season ticks up or building season picks up for flatbed, that 30-day average goes out the window. It's just kind of more of a baseline to know that rates are lower in some areas than in the others. So, can you all work on getting the Georgia outbound rates up for me, please? Well, that's probably going to happen. If the Savannah port gets slammed, then what happens is freight rates should go up. Now, of course, that means they're going to pay less to go in, but, so it balances out, right? Have a conversation, Rock and Van Life, have a conversation with Jeff. The only thing that might become an issue that is your gap in time of not driving, quote unquote. I know you've been in the van and all that, but that would depend on our insurance. So I would have a conversation with Jeff if you're thinking about that. So, are shippers, receivers usually closed on Good Friday? Just wondering. In my experience, no. And now I remember there was one Easter Sunday that I had to work, and I actually was able to pick up a load. It was Procter & Gamble. It was a drop trailer, so they had like a skeleton crew working. But beyond that, I don't see. I don't think that's one of the things about the Easter holiday. It doesn't seem to affect the flow of freight. So I don't need them up until June, but the best time to start working on it is now. Well, in June, these effects are going to last for at least another year or so. And if the other ports are already overwhelmed, which I believe Sonar has said that there's going to be an influx of inbound import freight. So things are about to hopefully pop open a little bit. So, and then this is going to change the dynamics of everything. So, let's see if I can find this. These are some charts that I'm sent. Here's Green Screens AI, top lane movers. And so California to Oregon has moved up. And then California to Colorado has moved up. And then the dying market is Houston to Laredo, and then Chicago to Pittsburgh. So below are the inbound TEUs for the last 4 years. The takeaway is that 2024 is showing elevated inbound shipping compared to 23. And so there's an increase of ship freight coming in. Now, this is interesting. This is the amount of authority changes. Look how high we were back when everything was booming. And, of course, you got the DAT market conditions. Red is good on this one. Blue is bad. Oh, look at flatbed. It's all in the southeast. Look, if you've got a flatbed and you're not running in the southeast, what are you doing with your life? All right, dry van, kind of a little spotty, but definitely dead up in these areas, up in the west coast there. So Savannah is the largest port on the East Coast. Yeah, it will be the one that will probably try to handle a lot of it, that in Norfolk. So, all right, we've been live for an hour and 19 minutes. Thank you for everybody coming in. I think we got up to 75 people, so that's pretty cool. And we're streaming on Facebook, just under Snorelord, and also under a Twitter. X. So, but anyways, A lot of dynamic changes. Look for, if you're in van, look for freight to pick up and deliver. The dynamics of, if you're constantly running out of Maryland, make sure you do your trip planning and make sure that you're pricing according, and have some tools on hand to figure out the tolls, figure out the mileage, and all that. Last my thoughts on the bridge, says Shadow Wolf, is to the 6 workers they haven't found yet, and families, to all the folks that are going to not have a job. It took approximately 5 years to build that bridge. Wow. Prayers for those people, rockin' van life, right? TJ says, keep going. Why not? Well, because I'm not a marathon YouTuber, and I have other stuff I got to do. So have a great day, everyone, says Cheap Freight Hauler. A few years back, the company I was with did business with Imperial Sugar and Fuji. I was responsible for supplying them food-grade tankers. I hated it every day. Buck, I just like going to Savannah, too. I used to haul fuel down that way. It's definitely a different area to work in. So with that being said, guys, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Thanks for showing up. Give me the thumbs up on the way out. If you hate this video or you hate me, thumbs down twice. That'll teach me a lesson. So with that being said, aggression turns to screws. Be smart, be safe, and we'll talk to you on Friday, hopefully. Peace.